Thank you for joining us and welcome to tonight's webinar. Today's topic is building your real estate dream team. For your questions, please type them in the chat box and that will be addressed after the presentation. To those who are in Facebook, please enter your questions in the comment section. And now, without further ado, here's our host, Mr. Nhan Lam.
All right. Thank you for the very warm welcome, Connie. I appreciate it for coming on April 6th here tonight. Our topic, building your real estate dream team. And this is one of my favorite topics, but for some reason it's not a popular one just because there's no money being shown or whatnot, and like fix and flip or wholesaling. But I'll tell you guys, it's one of my favorite topics because this is where the rubber meets the road. For those who don't know me, my name is Nhan Lam. I've been investing in real estate for the past 11 years. I'm a father of five beautiful children. Started off part-time, did this business part-time for about 2.5 years. Within that time, I replaced my full-time job as an engineer with the federal government as a contractor, and I have been self-employed and in entrepreneurship ever since then. It's been a true blessing. It's been a great ride, and I look forward to helping other individuals in the middle-class America to be able to achieve the same result through our webinars, through our trainings, and just through encouragement and inspiration, okay? So what we'll do right now, guys, as we pull up the presentation, um, we can go through our slides here on what building a dream team is all about. First of all, when you build a team, see, everyone has different personalities, okay? But why do you want to develop a team mindset? All right. So let me tell you why. All right. Currently right now, there's four different ways to make money, some kind of income, okay, that are popular, that people know of, okay? First of all, you can be an employee. An employee is simply a person who trades time for money. They work for somebody else, they provide a specific task, and they get paid for that, usually by the hour or by salary. All right. So these types of people have a specific core value. And these core values are driven to you in the deepest feelings to where you are looking for these kind of values all the time in everything you do in life. Okay. Employees look for these things right here. They look for safety, they're looking for security, and they're looking for benefits. I mean, when's the last time that you heard an employee looking for a new job that says, well, I want a good, high paying job with benefits, okay? Something that's safe and something that's secure that they have to worry about being laid off on. Well, guess what, guys? In the 21st century, if you're an adult right now who's been in the job market for at least 10 or 15 years, somewhere along the way, you probably known someone or maybe yourself who got laid off. So job security, it was not like the 80s and 70s and 60s where people can work for the same company for 40 years and retire off a pension from that same exact company. That just doesn't happen anymore, all right? So people job hop around every few years, every 5 years, every 10 years. And there is no job security because things just happen, all right? So those are the core values of employees. Now, the next area of income is those who are self-employed. All right. Now, these people right here are people like attorneys, or maybe they're restaurant owners, or they're a dentist or a doctor. They're very proficient in a very specific niche in industry, and they focus on doing that particular job. All right. They have a specific mindset as well, and that mindset is that if you want it done right, you have to do it yourself. In other words, they're perfectionists and no one can do it better than them. They're highly competitive to beat out the competition and to prove to everyone else in the local marketplace that they are the best at providing that service in the entire marketplace, all right, in the local marketplace. So, so those are those types of people. They even though they're self-employed, they're actually own their own job because guess what happens to people who are in the small business quadrant? If they stop working, they stop getting paid. All right, there is no fallback because the main generator of income is them in particular. All right, the next area are those who are business owners. When I say business owners, these are big business owners who own an actual system, some kind of proprietary intellectual property or a system or a network of service stations or things like that that produces some kind of income. All right, these people look for key things. They're looking for a team. They're looking to build a network. They're looking to build a system that's replicatable, repeatable, and can be done over and over and over again and is highly predictable. Also, they're looking for things called leverage to be able to accomplish more with less time and less effort. Accomplish more with less time and less effort. That's the definition of leverage, okay? These are their core values, and that's what they're looking for. All right, and the last group of people who are doing in income are investors, all right? And these are people who simply have the mindset of having their money that works for them. So their money, their cash, whatever they have in the bank, are their little employees that go off to do investments. Could be in stocks, could be in mutual funds, could be in cryptocurrency, it could be in real estate, it could be a number of things. But they're having their money simply working for them, and when they go out and work, they get a higher return back. So that way their wealth grows over time. All right. So if I take a look at everything here, guys, if you look at the left column where there was the employees and self-employed people, 95% of the population in the United States are those people, employees and self-employed. All right. 5% of the population are people who are big business owners and also investors. These are people like Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Ray Kroc with McDonald's, and so many other things, and different companies that own big systems and big service stations and a network that surpasses any local person. All right. And so those are the types of people there. So let's take a look right now. So obviously we want to build a big business because our goal is to build a sustainable business where you earn income whether you work or not. Now, yes, in the beginning, in the first 3 to 5 years, you're gonna be putting in a lot of grunt work to develop these systems and develop the team, so that way you can go ahead and enjoy the fruit of your labor after you build it properly. All right. So as you build your team, you got to ask yourself in real estate, what kind of people and what kind of team members do you want on your team? All right. First, you got to have an attorney. All right. In real estate, guess what? There's a lot of contracts. There's a lot of situations where there could be civil suits. All right. There's a lot of situations where you got to know what kind of laws are in the areas where you're doing business. It could be DC, could be Maryland, could be Virginia. Those are all different states with all different sets of laws. All right. So it's good to have an attorney who knows understand the real estate business. In addition to that, you want to have an attorney who has a vested interest in protecting your assets. In other words, the mistakes can happen, and yes, you can't get sued. Guess what? Anyone can get sued for any reason, right? It's amazing that the more successful you are, the bigger the target you are for being sued, because everyone wants a piece of the pie. If you guys remember, about 30 years ago, there was a young lady who actually drove through McDonald's and ordered a coffee. She spilled the coffee on her lap. She burnt her lap because the coffee was hot. She later sued McDonald's and she won $4 million because the cup was not labeled hot. Okay, so we're in a very legit society, and now you notice that everything out there in McDonald's, every cup that's hot is labeled hot in big bold letters to prevent that lawsuit from ever happening again. All right, so same thing with you. As you get bigger and more successful, you'll be a target as well. Is that a bad thing? No, because when you're moving, you're gonna be a target. Or more success attracts targets. Okay, and that's not a bad thing. You can strategize yourself to make sure that you're protected, and your attorney should have that that interest in mind for you. They also want to have the ability to strategize your expansion. Obviously, you don't want to stay stagnant every single year. You want to be able to grow your business and have it better every year after. All right. You want to prepare all your corporate documents, your LLC, your entity formations, estate planning, as someone who's willing to fight for you. So if they had to go to court for you, will you trust them enough to defend your best interest, even though it's an uphill battle? All right. And if it's an uphill battle and they see that's unjust on what's being happening to you, you want that person being willing to fight. Because I've seen so many attorneys say, well, Jan, if you just do this and this, your attorney's cost will just be this. All right. And in principality, it's not right, but it's the cheapest way to resolve the legal problem. But no, that's not the only option. I want all options to the table, and that way I can choose whether or not it's worth the fight. All right. So if it's worth the fight because you're fighting for a brand or you're fighting for reputation, it might be worth it. But if it's just something nitty gritty, a couple $100 here and there, maybe you want to settle out of court. So you want to all the options on the table, not just someone who's just gonna go fall flat on the ground and submit to the fight and say, you know what, you just do this and this, everything will be resolved, you're good to go. Then they move on to the next case. No, you want someone who will give you all the options on the table. All right. Next, let me give you an example of how an attorney should work. Okay, we had this property in Alexandria under contract. It was via short sale. All right, so we spent some time getting that short sale approved by the lender. So the contract was ratified. The short sale negotiation took about 9 months. It was later approved. All right, but right before it was approved, all right. The bad thing is that it was very unfortunate that the owner of the house had some health conditions and passed away before the short sale was approved, and we didn't know about that until after it was approved. All right. But in the meantime, we'd already put down a $3,000 earnest money deposit for the contract. All right. And so obviously, if the seller had passed away, there's no one to sign as the owner of the contract. The kids, who heired to the property had nothing, didn't want anything to do with it. Whoever was in relationship with the property had nothing to do. So there's no one willing to sign on behalf of the seller on legally on that side of the property. So the deposit check was already deposited by the escrow agent. All right, seller passes away. There's been attempts made on me to work with the executor to sign on behalf. They didn't work out. All right, settlement never happened, and the house eventually went to foreclosure. I requested my deposit back from the title company. They refused, and I don't know why they refused. But who would that? Where would that 3,000 go to? I mean, the seller's passed away. Where's it going to go to? Right? So we why don't and they refused. So I just spoke to my attorney. I sent him a copy of my contract that was executed and ratified, told him the situation. He made one phone call to the title company. And within 5 minutes after the phone call, that title company called me up and said, Nhan, your check is ready. When would you like to pick it up? And they apologized to me in person. Okay. So that's an attorney that you want on your side because stuff like this happens. And instead of wasting time going back and forth and who's right and who's wrong, legal muscle is the key to getting things resolved quickly and effectively. Okay. So going on to the next area here. And for those who catch questions, please feel free to type the question into the chat. For those who are on Facebook, type your questions onto your comment section, and we'll address each individual question at the end of the presentation. Okay. All right. Who else should be on your team? Wouldn't it be nice to have a good real estate agent? Now, why? Not to find properties, but instead to sell your property, specifically if you're doing fix and flip. All right. You want someone who's investor friendly, who understands that you are selling a house that's renovated, but may not be entirely new. Okay. And also someone who understands the marketplace to where they can work with the appraiser, the buyer's agent, and the financing company of the end buyer to be able to get the best possible deal for you and make sure you get top dollar for your house. You want someone who's possibility focused and not cynical. All right. You don't want a complacent agent who's just average Joe. You want someone who's actually going to be possibility focused to see what you can do with that particular deal that you're doing. All right. So you want someone who's an experienced value assessor, so that way they can give you a good second opinion on an ARV or maybe a rental rate or whatnot. They can give you that number, so that way when you go into the deal, you'll have an idea how much you can sell it for, and it has a cross check between you and that agent. They understand your core business. They're looking out for you and not your commission. Now, obviously, agents, the way they make money is through agent commissions. Okay, whether it be a listing agent or a buyer's agent, they get paid by commission. All right. So obviously they make money when they close a deal. But you don't want someone who just closes the deal. You want someone who's going to look out for your best interest. So that way you have reason to go back to them and give them repeat business. You don't want someone who just wants that one and done deal. You want someone who's going to work with you throughout your entire career of real estate investing. Okay. So that's the type of person that you want. So let me give you guys an example. All right. Here's a property that we did in Manassas. All right. And so the way this worked was that when we got the deal on the contract was $200,000, renovated for 56, listed for 399. The agent that I used was able to get 3 offers within 24 hours, all above list price. One of them had an escalation addendum, and one of them had different types of financing. One of them had a faster closing date. One of them had a higher deposit. All different things, right? Now, in consideration. Now, he was able to negotiate with all 3 offers as he highest and best, and making sure that when he works with the appraisal actually comes in at the list price, at the contract price or higher. Okay, so this actually ended up selling for 417, 750, way above list price. Got about 17 grand more than what we asked for. But in addition to that, through the entire home inspection process, he was able to continually build confidence with the buyer's agent that things were done properly and that the home inspection done. Sometimes they ask for unreasonable things and they explain it properly. They agree that's unreasonable and may not need to be fixed. Okay, but things that are of safety hazard or things like that of habitability, that we want to go ahead to make sure the house is habitable for the new buyers later on, and that's just part of our reputation. But they got to be reasonable. Sometimes buyers tend to be unreasonable and ask for everything, and you got to have an agent who knows to explain these things, so that way you don't come out of pocket too many things during the home inspection process. All right. All right. Next thing, who else should be on your team? All right. You want to go ahead and make sure you have a good investor-friendly title company. Now, this is especially important when you are wholesaling. When you're assigning contracts, they gotta first of all know what contract assignment is. All right, and they also gotta know certain etiquettes of working with the seller, the end buyer, and you. So those things are very important. So they got to be investor friendly. Now, if you're doing a fix and flip and buying a property, they got to be used to using doing documentation for private lenders, such as a hard money lender. They got to know how to go through the deed of trust, the promissory note, the HUD, different from a closing disclosure. They got to know all these different things and the type of title insurance that's required by the lender as a private company versus a traditional lender. All right. They're thorough in their title review to make sure that there are no skeletons in the closet. So when it comes to selling the property later on, because every property will get sold, whether you buy and hold as a rental or if you just keep fixing flipping it, right? Sometime at some point in time, you will sell the property. And you want to make sure, but when you are selling the property, your title is good, marketable, insurable, and conveyable. And there's no legal problems later on. All right. And that's the title company that's going to do that for you. Okay. Someone who's also very responsive throughout your entire process. All right. So actually, I skipped the slide there. Okay. Next person on your team should be a private lender. Private lenders are cash plentiful. The last thing that you want to do is make a cash offer and you have access to no cash. Okay. You got to have access to cash. Someone who has plentiful accessibility to cash. So that way you can close quickly within 2 weeks or less. And it can also be a good assessor of a second opinion just in case you need to cross check your ARV and renovation plan because your private lender should have already done this type of business. They're experienced in doing that and could be a very good source of second opinion for you should you need it. Likewise, in addition, private lenders will only give you so much. They may give you 80% loan to cost, 65% of ARV. They will never give you 100% of what you need, right? You got to have a down payment to show that you have skin in the game. So to raise the rest of the money, you can look for private investors and potential partners to be able to do your deal. Someone who's cash plentiful, someone who was looking to earn stronger returns in real estate versus what they're earning in their savings account, which is not much. All right, savings account earning right now anywhere between 0.5% to maybe a certificate deposit of 1.5%. That's not too exciting. All right. So they can deposit their money into your deal. And instead of getting 1% or 1.5%, they can now get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12% on your deal secured by the piece of real estate. And they can make more money that way. All right. Also, someone easy to work with that doesn't that's not too high maintenance when it comes to management. Okay. Next thing, general contractors. Now, whether you're wholesaling or whether you're doing fix and flip or buy and hold, a general contractor is a good person to have in your network. If you're wholesaling, it's good to have a second opinion on the renovation estimate. If you're fix and flipping, that's very obvious. If you're doing buy and hold, you want to have a general contractor who knows how to make the property rental ready, not resale ready, so that way they can look out for your bottom line. They got to understand what sells in that neighborhood. Okay, is it a specific cabinet type? Is it a white shaker? Is it traditional cherry? Is it modern, contemporary, traditional? What kind of style in the area in the neighborhood will help you sell the property quickly? All right. Likewise with the bathrooms and how it's designed. What tiles you use? Is it porcelain? Is it ceramic? Is it marble? What kind of tiles and flooring should you use in that particular neighborhood so that way it can sell quickly? All right. Someone who also has strong relationships with county inspectors or third-party inspectors, so that way they already have the confidence that this contractor knows what they're doing and they won't micromanage everything along the way when it comes to inspections. Okay, with plumbing, mechanical, electrical, their confidence is very key because some people can be very nitpicky if there's no confidence in the contractor. And then nitpick stuff is going to cost you more time and will cost you more money. All right. Also, you're going to have someone who has a crew that can do it fast and do it right. Do it fast and do it right. Go hand in hand. They can't go fast and do it wrong. They can't do it right and go slow because that won't work either. They got to do it fast and do it right. All right. And a lot of times, if you get referred to a contractor by another investor who's very happy with them, generally those are good things. Okay, they're not referred by an advertisement like Angie's List or Home Advisor or something like that. They didn't have to do much marketing at all because the companies that do a lot of marketing end up charging a lot more because they have to recoup the marketing cost somewhere, and that's through the customers. Okay, but if you're getting a referral from somebody, that contractor probably spent $0 on marketing. They're just working on referrals, and therefore they can pass on the savings to you as the customer. So let's go through a couple of examples, okay? So here's a rental grade kitchen. So you see here, these kitchens look original, and all that was done was that the cabinets were painted, all right, and then the countertops were replaced to corium countertops. The appliances also were original; they just got cleaned up, and that's it. There's no backsplash. The flooring is original; it just got cleaned up. It's a very cheap kitchen, but it's rental ready. So you can get market rate for the rentals in this neighborhood just by doing that cheap thing with them. You got to have a contractor who understands what to do and what not to do. All right. And then here's a similar size kitchen that's resale ready. This is where you replace all the cabinets, replace all the appliances, installing new flooring, a new backsplash. and install recessed lighting in the ceiling so that way it lights up very, very well. So there's an example of something that's resale grade in the property, okay? All right, here's an example of the exterior. Here's something that has very little curb appeal on the outside. Having a contractor knows what they're doing. They will turn that ugly thing into this thing here where they can remove that tree, increase the curb appeal, paint it to let it stand out, make sure the front door stands out, make sure the windows look good, the trims look good, and the landscaping looks good. And also the not only that, but the staircase were all repainted to make it look new and fresh again for a new homeowner. Okay, here's another example of a house that was built in the 40s. A lot of junk in there, not open concept. And you see just stuff everywhere. There's rodents and cockroaches everywhere in this house when we bought it. Okay, someone can turn that into this. All right, refinish the floors, open up the kitchen, install recessed lighting, replace the cabinets, install new appliances, and instead of installing new hardwood, they literally sand down the original hardwood where there's carpet on top of that, refinished it with new stain, and then put a new polyethylene gloss on top to make it look new and fresh again. All right. So those are the kinds of things you're looking for in an actual general contractor. Next thing, person you want on your team are insurance brokers. Well, guess what? You own property, right? If you're doing fix and flip or rental, you will need to get an insurance policy. Okay, you want an insurance broker who understands your business, and you want them to understand what is needed to protect you and also your business. So in this case, if you're doing fix and flip, not only will you need the regular liability insurance, but you also will need builder's risk to protect yourself in case someone was injured on a job, or if there's a work-related or contractor-related injury or in your property. So you got to have someone who understands what you need in that area. Someone's very easy to access by phone or email and can assist you with claims as well. All right. So recently, we had a couple of properties that the cold weather made the pipes burst and it flooded the basement. Okay, so we got to have someone who knows how to do the claim to get some of that money back, less than deductible, to be able to redo those properties at given time. Someone who can easily prepare a quote and an insurance certificate binder so that way you can provide that for closing that's required by your lender before you settle on the property. All right. And then, of course, stagers. If you're going to you're going to sell a property, it has to look good, right? It has to look good and better than the competition if you have inventory down the street. So you got to look for a stager who knows how to make the home presentable, has to have the furniture and props readily available and not have to be rented out. Someone who understands how to design a property, traditionally, contemporary, or modern, depending on what your finishes are. So if you have specific granite countertops or cabinetry or appliances or different or backsplashes, they have a specific feel to it. They want to have props and furniture that appeal to that type of thing, so that way it doesn't mix match. All right. So here's an example of someone who staged a property. You notice here that the flooring was somewhat reddish cherry color. So there was a lot of, look at that, orange and reddish colored on the pillows, on the chairs, and even the wall arts. It contrasted very well. All right. Moving on into the bathroom, you'll see here there's also a reddish cherry color when it comes to the mirrors and also the vanities. You'll see the wall arts match that as well. Even the towels that's hanging on there has like a maroon reddish color that matches on as well, along with the props that are sitting on the sink. All right. And then going on, so that's what you want from a stager, someone who can actually do that for you guys to match everything very well. All right. All right, next thing is property management. So this is for those who are doing buy and hold. All right. So you got to have someone who understands how to pre-screen a tenant who's going to be paying. Now I'll tell you guys, there have been some challenges in the last couple of years because when the pandemic happened, there was a moratorium that the tenants cannot be evicted, and even though they're not paying rent. So how do you deal with that? Okay, so you got to have a property manager be able to navigate through things legally, but at the same time and get the tenant to pay, even though legally they don't have to. So even though they're still working and had a job, they don't have to pay. We can't evict them. That was horrible, right? So a lot of landlords really got devastated by that law and didn't know how to navigate around that. You want a property manager who knows how to navigate around that. And what our property manager did was research different areas of assistance in the state of Virginia or wherever the tenant resides, and through those assistance programs, was able to apply for tenants to be able to get money back through that assistance program to the landlord, so that way they get caught up to date. Okay, so you got to have a property manager not to sit back and give up because of the law, but no, they got to be proactive and making sure that your rent gets paid, because that's how you make money and that's how you stay in your business as a landlord. All right. Here's an example. All right, here's a property that was in this, like in Woodbridge, Virginia. We personally did this deal as the BRRRR strategy, which stands for buy, renovate, rent, and refinance. All right. So we purchased this deal for $115,000. The renovation cost 23, rental grade renovation. Once the renovation was done, we had an appraisal done to get a refinance. It was appraised at 215. We hired a property manager to place a tenant and manage the rent collection and also the maintenance on the property. It was rented for $1,650. After all expenses are paid, including the debt service, mortgage, HOA, taxes, insurance, and also repairs and maintenance, we cash flow about $300 per month or $3,600 per year. But to add insult to injury, because we refinanced and we had a $140,000-ish mortgage, the appraisal was 215. We had over $70,000 of instant equity in increase in net worth because of the BRRRR strategy. All right. So here's an example of a property manager placing a good tenant, paying rent so that we can cash flow long term until we're ready to sell the property, which later we did after about 5 years. Okay. And then another thing, for those who are very big on doing fix and flip or development, you got to have a good designer on your team. All right. Someone who can create a competitive edge in kitchens and bathrooms without the materials costing much more. Can you believe you can do that? You just got to have someone who knows and is resourceful enough to use the resources they have to make it more competitive. I mean, we're in a very competitive market. What makes your house better than the house next door? What makes your property sell for higher, even though the next door, even though your house is the same square footage, same number of bedrooms, same number of bathrooms? All right. What makes your house more competitive, more higher value and perceived value? Well, here's the thing, guys. You got to have someone who's experienced in kind of catching the eye of the current marketplace. To people, when people go into the kitchen, they say, wow, I don't see this kind of kitchen anywhere else. I want to buy this house just because of that one cabinet or that one appliance or that one layout, all right, or that one feature. I mean, there's always different features and benefits in the house, but they can see more of the things they like, they're more likely to go to your house and make an offer versus the competition because no one else is doing what you're doing. All right. So what I want to do right now is play a quick YouTube video on one of our designers. His name is Jim Mitchell, on what he does to kind of give a good competitive edge with regards to kitchen cabinets, and he's going to do it through presenting our showroom. So Iro, if you don't mind, can you go queue up that YouTube video so we can go through that real quick on how Jim does that? Okay, it's a quick 6-minute video, 7-minute video, and we can go ahead and go there. Iro, if you can queue up the video, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. So Jim, thank you so much for coming out to our showroom here.
You're welcome.
And we're looking forward to actually you presenting to us what's being provided through Fortune Homes Premier Cabinetry and why this company is going to beat out the competition and what our competitive edge is. Okay, so Jim, quick question. You know, when someone such as a general contractor, an investor, or a developer, when they're shopping for cabinets, what do you think the number one challenge is when they're shopping around with other vendors?
Pricing, customer service.
Okay, could you elaborate on the pricing and why that is?
So we'll be cutting out the middleman, and we'll be ordering cabinets directly into our warehouse and then out to the contractor. So we'll cut out several steps of commerce.
Okay, well that's exciting. I mean, I myself have been developing real estate for the last 10 years, and one of my biggest challenges is always the bottom line. And by doing this helps us out, and which is why we want to provide the same service for other people too. So the next question, you mentioned design and customer service. Can you elaborate about what makes us better compared to the competition when it comes to design?
Sure, so we'll offer personal designs. You can bring us a stick drawing, and then we'll create you a drawing from that. We'll send you a 3D rendering, and then I'm sure we'll have to go back and forth several times because it's a process to get it the way that you want it.
So Jim, I know a lot of times, even with experienced general contractors, developers, and investors, they may get into a little crutch when it comes to design. They're probably copying and pasting from what they see on the comps and comparables, but they may not have considered things that can make their product unique because they haven't seen it before. So I know we have an incredible showroom that shows a lot of different options. Could you share with a couple of different things that people may not have considered that they should?
Sure, sometimes they get into the same old design rut, but we've been doing this for several years. So we have a lot of ideas, and we've seen tons and tons of different varieties of kitchens. So just changing the door if you like the contemporary service, to a metal door with frosted glass. I offered it with the birch interior, so you can see the difference between a lighted cabinet with the birch interior or the white cabinet with the white interior. Also too, you can just simply invert the cabinets just to create a different dimension. It doesn't cost you any money. You still needed to fill the space with the cabinet. It has a better design appeal to it. We also have mullion style cabinets, which this one has been painted white interior. Cabinets for envelopes, business, wine, little drawers for little pieces and parts.
So Jim, thank you so much for that unique perspective with the wall cabinets and what people may not consider. And let's talk about the base cabinets, okay? So the cabinets that are on the ground, underneath the countertops. I see you have a Lazy Susan here and a couple other things. Can you explain a couple of things that may be unique that people may not have considered?
Yes, so usually these corner cabinets come two ways, a Lazy Susan and an Easy Reach. An Easy Reach would just be the shelves. This has a 360-degree Lazy Susan to it. Two heights, and it'll lock into place. Actually, the corner cabinet is also soft close as well. And then on the ends of the cabinets, what we'll do is we'll put a panel on and then put a piece of baseboard.
I see we have some other drawers over here as well. Can you tell me a little bit about this one here?
Yeah, so this is a 9-inch spice cabinet.
Okay,
so these spice cabinets can be used to hold spices, obviously. You can also remove the interiors. They sell different things that you can use to hang pots and pans as well. So you can put this next to a stove.
Okay, awesome. I also noticed that there's a couple of things that are, from a design perspective, is very noticeable here, such as this post right here compared to nothing or just something plain. There's a little bit of architecture and design here. Can you explain what you're trying to show here?
Yeah, so this is a filter post, and what it is instead of just putting a 3-inch just plain fill, you could fill it in with this post. They also sell cabinet pieces, pull-outs. So basically you could pull on this, it would be a little hidden pull-out.
Okay, well, great, Jim. I mean, this is some great information, but obviously, we have white down here, we have a bluish gray down here, and we have a whole bunch of different selections here. Could you explain a little bit about what kind of options people have when it comes to color, texture, style, and what kind of materials that it comes with?
Sure, these doors are all birch. These are full overlay cabinets. So you'll just see 1/8 of an inch on both sides of the door in the reveal. There's 28 colors, and I believe there's 6 different styles, as well as a slab door.
Okay. And I see here it's very organized. You have everything labeled here, from Elegant Ocean Blue to Luxor Espresso to Matrix Silver. So obviously, I'm thinking as an investor, you consider different types of cabinets for rental properties, and also different kinds of cabinets for resale properties, especially in higher end areas compared to lower priced houses in certain different neighborhoods. Okay, apartment complexes with 300 plus units, you may consider something that fits that criteria versus something that's more expensive. And we're always looking to make sure that your bottom line is where you need it to be for your particular investment vehicle. So we've covered the base cabinets, we covered the wall cabinets, but now also if you're considering creating an island, we also have cabinets here that there's different types that you can think about for the island. So Jim, I noticed that this finish here is a little bit different compared to the rest. Can you explain about what the difference is between these cabinets versus the one we already talked about?
So these are a frameless, high gloss finished cabinet. So there's no 1.5 inch frame on it. It's just a 3/4 inch sides with soft close. And then you have the larger cabinets. Usually we use these 2 drawer cabinets on either side of the stove to carry all the pots and pans and so forth.
Okay, wonderful. So other things you can think about too, these cabinets could be great if you're building an island where there's going to be a sink and maybe a dishwasher. So on the other side there could be some cabinets to store some pots and pans and other big items that you use inside the kitchen. So a lot of people may not think about it, but the more space, the more things you can store, and also functionality and use. So there you have it. We are Fortune Homes Premier Cabinetry, and our goal is help you increase your bottom line. Whether you're a general contractor, an investor, a developer, a fix and flipper, if it has to do with kitchen cabinets or bathroom cabinets and vanities, we can provide a quote that literally will destroy the competition. If you want to get a quote from us, provide us your dimensions and also details that we request to our email address at sales@premiercabinetry.us, and one of our design representatives will contact you as soon as possible with the proposed design and pricing based on what you need. Jim, thank you very much for your expert opinion, and I'll tell you guys, you'll have access to people with the kind of caliber that Jim has to give you the expertise that you need to make your kitchens the best kitchens ever. All right, guys. Well, yeah, I want to share that with you guys because having a designer on your team has been a true blessing because every kitchen that Jim has installed for us and any house that we have listed has all sold above list price. Now, selling above list price, was it worth it? Absolutely, because the cost of the kitchen was literally almost the same amount had I used somebody else or just no designer at all, right? You fill the space, but the functionality may not be as good and unique. And these are the little details as a homeowner will look at, but you may not look at because you're an investor. I personally don't look at it much unless I'm looking at for my own personal house, right? So I just want to get the deal done. I want to look at the numbers. I want to work the project and then get it sold and move on to the next deal. But I don't really look at the finer details. Designers look at the finer details, and that finer detail helps you sell above list price, above the market price. Okay, so that's very, very important. Is it worth it? Absolutely, because now you can create your own brand that you're just not one of those amateur fix and flip people. You're an actual sustainable business that have an end product in mind and have an image and a brand that you're trying to uphold, which is quality and which has a unique competitive edge. All right. So let's go on to the next slide real quick here. When you go to your team, guys, you want to make sure that each person that you work with has specific core values that matches your energy. All right. You got to have someone with integrity, someone who's willing to do the right thing, even though it's not the easiest thing to do. Someone who's a little bit generous and not stingy. What I mean by that is that if someone's always taking and taking and taking, it's really hard to work with them because you're trying to build a business and you don't want to nickel and dime every little thing. You want to just get the deal done, move on to the next person, to the next thing. Okay, someone who's committed and not going to be quitting on the first sign of trouble. Someone who's in it for a win-win relationship, not win-lose relationship. Someone with open and good communication, organized, positive can-do attitude, and also a responsible risk taker. Yes, we are in business. Would there be risk? Absolutely. But you want someone who's willing to manage that risk, not willing to avoid risk, but instead take on risk responsibly and seeing that the risk is worth the reward at the end of the day. Okay. So what if one of the team members that you're currently working with right now fall short of one of these values or any of these values at all? Well, here's the thing, guys. If you can't change the people around you, then guess what you need to do? You need to change the people around you, okay? And we've had to do that several times throughout our business. And just things just didn't work out. They're great people as a person, but when it comes to business, it just didn't work out. And I have an obligation for myself and my family and to my company, my business, that I must make it successful. And I cannot let my emotions get in the way of that success. All right. Yes, we can still build that relationship, but business is business. And you want to go ahead and make sure that if you had to cut something loose, you got to cut it loose before it gets any worse. Okay. So our internal team, guys, for those who are within our group and our meetup group, our student base, we have a lot of different things that we have developed across the years that we use internally that we're willing to share with the group as well. We have a Fortune Homes construction team. This is designed for investors only. So this is not designed for homeowners. So if you have a fix and flip deal or a condo conversion or a construction deal that you want to look at, we can provide a quote for you on that construction project, okay? If you're looking for financing help, in addition to hard money lenders, someone to help you with the down payment just a little bit, we can look at that deal. If the numbers work, we can provide that service as well. Also, with Premier Cabinetry, we specifically work with B2B for contractors, developers, and investors. We do not work with homeowners, all right? So we're looking for people where we can give a deep discount to increase your bottom line, but in return, we get high volume. So you're going to do 3, 4, or 5 deals per year. That's 3, 4, or 5 kitchens per year. And we want to give you the best deal possible based on volume discount and also giving the added service of design. So that way you can sell your house at top dollar. I'll tell you guys, the synergy and of everything of a team is everything to your success. And if you work with the right team members, for some reason, certain team members that I work with, everything we touch together turns to gold. But for some people, that everything, some that I work with, every time we touch a deal with that one person, it turns to not gold at all. Okay, it turned to something else. So I don't know what it is. Okay, but maybe it's the synergy, maybe the stars not aligned, maybe they're the wrong zodiac sign. Who knows what it is? Okay, but no offense to anyone, but sometimes it just doesn't work out, and if it doesn't work out, I mean, don't fight an uphill battle when you can't. Okay, cooperate with the laws of the universe and do what you need to succeed in the business. Okay. All right. So let's go through our questions right now. So we have a list of questions. Iro, if you have any questions from Facebook, please type in here as well. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to address the questions here in the Click Meeting chat. Okay. So first question is from Alan Taylor. His question is: have you found that your real estate team has been longer or lifelong relationships, or short term, or a mix of both? Great question. I've had a mix of both. All right. And the ones that are lifelong relationships, they have a sustainable business where we are lined up together of what we're trying to accomplish. All right. When it comes to short term or a mix of both, and I would say my relationship was short term, but more like after 5 years, they may want to do something else. So, for example, we used to have a very good general contractor we used for a good 6, 7, 8 years. He was great, okay, but when COVID happened, he stopped doing contract. He wanted to switch over to commercial and restaurants. Okay, so he just had a different goal in his life, and that's okay. I'm good with that. Okay, our relationship is still good, and so sometimes you just gotta change up things as people change along the way. It's kind of like when you have a team member on your job place and there's attrition. If someone quits, resigns, or gets laid off due to non-performance, you have to find a replacement, right? So same thing with your business. You want to be prepared to do that replacement just in case. Next question, also from Alan Taylor, is: does it matter if your team is long distance in another state or local? Well, it depends on who that team member is. Okay, so for example, my attorney is in Maryland. I live in Virginia, but he's also licensed in Virginia and DC, so I can use him. So he doesn't need to be local to me for me to use him. So as long as he's licensed and or can service the areas that I need, then we're good to go. Okay, so hope that answers that question. So I'm open to obviously anyone as long as they can service my area legally. Okay. Ellen Taylor again has another question. In addition to real estate networking events like Grid, what other good ways do you find people that will be great candidates for your real estate team? That's a great question. What I would do is, reach out to people who've already done a lot of deals, who's willing to help you, and have them introduce people to within their network. Okay, so that way you start building a portfolio for you as well, and they can put in a good word for you. Endorse you as a person who's a go getter and not just one of those people who's just going to be all talk and no action, right? Then they can put in a good word for you, so that way that other person will value your time as you will value their time. The last thing that people want to, when they're a good attorney, a good contractor, the last thing those people want is someone to waste their time. So a good word from somebody, and you hold up to your end of the bargain by being committed to getting the next deal. So that way everyone makes money and not waste any time. As long as you're committed to that, then you'll be able to find good people within your team. Okay. I mean, for me, it took several years to develop my team. All right. And I went through several deals along the way to be able to develop my team. So along the way, you do the same thing and you'll learn a lot throughout the process. Okay. You can't trade the experience with a lecture training on what to do. You just got to go through the process of down selecting your people along the way. All right, we have Kurt Morton. We asked a question here. His question is: how do you know if you are buying the right type of insurance for renovation type that you're doing? That's a great question. So, if you are doing a construction project for a rental property, you're going to need builder's risk. You're going to need liability. All right, and your insurance broker should know what you're doing, and they're going to ask you what the renovation budget is, what their purchase price is. All right, I think they're going to ask very specific questions. Is there any structural work going to be done, or is it just cosmetic? All right, and once the job is done and you put a tenant in place, then now you got to switch to a landlord policy. So that means they have to work to get a refund for the unused portion of the previous policy and get you a landlord policy for when that tenant moves into place. And you have the right policy in place when you're a landlord. Likewise, with a fix and flip property, right? Once it's under construction, you need builder's risk, you need liability, you need all that kinds of stuff. But once the construction is done, all right, you can switch that over to a policy that is designed for vacant properties only, where there's no more construction being done or major construction being done because the job is done. All right. So hopefully that answers that question, Kurt. Thank you for that question. All right. And then we have George Clemens asked a question here. How do you know whether to wholesale a property or do a short sale? All right. Well, a short sale is only done if the owner is underwater on their property. So if the mortgage is higher than the value of the property, then that's no doubt you have to do a short sale. Now, you can only wholesale if there's equity in the property or if the house is free and clear. So if the mortgage is $100,000 and you're buying it for $200,000, you do not need to do a short sale. You can put it under contract and then you can later assign it to somebody at a higher number than 200. So that way you can make your wholesale fee. So hopefully that answered that question, George. Thank you for that question. A very good question indeed. Alan, you have another question here. If you are just starting out, is there an order that you would start building your team? Attorney first, da da da. Great question. Here's the thing, guys. Have you made any money yet? Okay. If you have not made any money yet, don't waste money where money is not need to be wasted. Okay. So for me, when I first started, I had a very limited amount of capital to get started. So the first thing I did was not fire an attorney. It was not that, okay? I went ahead and registered my LLC in the state of Virginia for $100. That was my first expense, is form the LLC. The next thing I was going to do was find deals. So I had to look for wholesalers, I had to look for agents, I had to look for different things. All that stuff doesn't cost any money, right? Believe it or not, I did not get my first attorney involved in creating my LLC documents until it was my first settlement. I got a deal on the contract already. It went to the title company. I sent the deposit to the title company, and I did not even know I needed an attorney to draft my LLC document. I found my attorney within the title company. Okay, so along the way, you gotta focus on what I call money making activities. Until you have a strong pipeline of potential leads, of potential deals that are coming, it's going to generate revenue. There's no need to look for a CPA. There's no need to really look for a high expensive attorney. There's really no need to look for a lot of different things, right? So I hope that makes sense because you want to focus on the people you need to focus on to get your first deal. All right. We already provide within our network which title company you should use. So that works done for you. We also have a network of agents that you can use that's investor friendly. That's already been done for you. We also have an attorney on standby that supports our network and our students. That's already done for you. All right. We also have a network of general contractors. All right. And also us ourselves personally is also a general contractor. Guess what? You can tap into that as well. So just by being part of this group, you already have access to everyone we have access to. We have done the legwork for you on your behalf. And so you can literally go light years ahead of me when I first started because we already had to, when I first started, I had nobody to turn to really get this stuff going other than maybe a few people that I've gone to in the networking events and asked for a couple of referrals, but that was it. But we right now have a very good team in place that works for us and know they can work for you as well if you want to go ahead and have them as part of your team. Okay, so great question. All right, anyone else have a question from Click Meeting or from Facebook? All right, no questions. Well, guys, next month we are going to have our next event on May the 11th. This event will be virtual as well. Click on the red button on top to RSVP today to reserve your spot. The topic is how to estimate a renovation without going to the property and without a contractor. So you want to be able to ballpark certain things without having to have a waste of time with a contractor and without having to waste time driving there to go to the property. You can just look at public records and do a little quick snippet on how much you think it was going to cost for renovations. That way, if the numbers are in the ballpark, you can then go ahead and visit the property and invest more time there in that particular deal. You work smarter, not harder. So that's the topic of next month. We want to help you work smarter and not harder when it comes to estimating a renovation. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me tonight. Good night, and we'll see everyone next month at our event. God bless.